about 5 seconds.
Hey! All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to Inkwell Pictures and Inkwell Studio. This is our weekly acting series called Think, Feel, Act. So we're bringing it right back to you at this point. We got some fun scenarios we're going to put in place this evening. So I hope you pay attention. I hope you enjoy it, get a little bit of fun, but also learn a little something too as well. Before I go too much further, I just want to recognize a couple of folks in the room. I want to recognize, of course, Mico White here in the house, helping us out on the video and the streaming element of it, so we're really appreciative of that. We got Melvin Coleman over there on the editing bay, just really making sure that the live transmission that goes to our Inkwell Pictures YouTube page is picking this up well also. So just wanted to recognize those two folks, and also want to recognize our actors who will be here with us this evening. We've got Felicia Bell, we've got Jaime Anderson, we've got Samone the Goddess, and we got Reynolds, and let me see who else we got in the house here. I think that's about it. We probably should stop. Even if we have more, we don't want to get over, we don't want to get over 10. We don't have over 10. We are respecting social distancing and all those other things, and that's why we're bringing this format to you directly. So, let's start off a little bit. I want to give you a little bit of a foundation. We do this every single time, but I want you to keep it, and I want you to expand upon this, and that foundation is the concept of think, feel, act, all right? The concept of think, feel, act is one of those things that we recognize that thinking, feelings, and then the actual action of doing are all separate realms of human processing, and they're expressed individually. Bringing those three elements together is what makes you a great actor, right behind great scripts, great content, great directors, great videography, and everything else. So we want you as the actor to focus in on those three concepts: the thinking, the feeling, and the acting of it. An example I would give you is that every scene that you're sitting in as an actor has a scenario or circumstance. It has some type of topic that's anchoring the actor to that particular scene. So most often, as the actor, you're given that scene. You may even be given a rough element of what the feelings are about that scene. But then the thinking, and then how that thinking translates into action, is something that you as the actor are responsible for. So what we're doing is we're teaching you to actually go into depth by understanding, and not only that, but honing your skills in those areas, in the areas of thinking, in the areas of feeling, in the areas of action. So how do you translate that as an actor? Other tool that I'll give you is the feelings wheel. We put it up that last week, and that feelings wheel, just one big circle. It's a therapeutic tool that we use actually in certain treatment environments to help people identify with their feelings. But I also want to use it in this format to help you be able to build depth when it comes down to creating characters. As I said before, a lot of people can do the basic core emotions. If I said play mad, a lot of people would know what that looks like. But being able to play mad in a level of depth, to be able to do not only mad, but some of the things that go, that create mad, that come out from mad, also have an ability to do that. So what I would encourage you to do, and they have them all over the place, they have them online. If you were to just go online and on Google or any platform and you typed in feelings wheel, you're going to get that feelings wheel. You can have it on your phone, you can print it out, but that feelings wheel is a good thing for you to use to be able to understand the depth of feelings and creating those feelings for your character. One of the examples I use, just as I'm looking at the feelings wheel here, the core segments of the feeling wheel identifies bad, surprised, happy, sad, disgusted, angry, fearful. Basic emotions and feelings. But outside of sad, as it starts to expand out, it also has lonely, vulnerable, despair, guilty, depressed, and hurt. Outside of that, it has isolated, abandoned, victimized. The question is, if you're mad or if you're sad about a situation, can you play sad in a victimized way? That's the depth that you bring to the character by using the feelings wheel. So I would encourage you to pull that up. We're going to be going over that probably every single week that we come to you, just so that we're hitting it home hard. All right? So That was a long, big transition. What we're going to do right now is we're going to start to bring our actors into play, and we're going to use the very first scenario that we're going to be looking at with our actors, and what we're going to be working on today is building depth, okay? Just like I explained to you before, if you're coming from a particular scenario and the base or the core emotion is sad, can you play or can you transition to one of the other elements? For example, if you're sitting, maybe you're in a hospital room, and you're sitting there and you're waiting, you had an exam and you're waiting for some good advice, and you're excited about it, and then what happens is you get some bad news and those emotions have to transition. So again, that's what we're going to be looking at, but the first scene we're going to be doing is not a hospital scene, it's actually going to be a living room scene. And in that living room scene, we're going to break out the scenario for you guys. We're going to use our two actors. Who are our actors for today?
Whichever victims would like to step to the table. One male, one female.
One male, one female. One male, one female. Okay, let's go. Oh, wow. We got, look who it is, you guys. It's Samone, the goddess. She makes us use that whole title too. She said, don't even,
Anderson.
That's it. And we got Jaime Anderson right here. This is my man right here, breaking into the acting gig here. So what we're gonna do today, I don't know why I didn't turn this phone off. People that see you online, they start calling. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna bring together this living room scene. And what we're gonna do is we're going to, it's all improv by the way, but in this living room scene, let me ask Melvin, what would the scenario
be? So in this particular scene, they've been married for about the last 6 years. And Jaime's high school reunion just came up, and he actually met up with a bunch of his boys from high school and stuff. And he's doing things he wouldn't have normally do. He's going and hanging out late with his boys and that kind of thing, and they've always had a real good relationship with communicating. But this is Jaime sneaking in about 7 a.m. the next morning, and Samone is there waiting on him to talk about this indiscretion.
All right,
They have
here we go. We're gonna break it down.
No indiscretion, solid relationship, but Jaime just been kind of out hanging with his boys. We're gonna call this one Hanging with Your Boys.
Hanging with the boys. All right. Hopefully we bring a little bit of comedy with some of these elements as well too. So here's the deal. We're gonna break it down. All right. So we've got Jaime and Samone. They've been married. Let's give it some depth. We'll say they've been married for 10 years, especially with the high school reunion coming up. They've been married for 10 years. That high school reunion came by. Jaime started to connect up with some of his old boys and just kind of hanging out, reliving that youth, reliving that age 18, the whole piece of it. But this time he's got a wife who's smarter than the average bear, catches him kind of sneaking in early in the morning. We're gonna put that early in the morning at about, let's say about 4 in the morning. All right, 4 in the morning he comes sneaking in. Let's see what happens and develops out of this. I'm not gonna give them actually the feelings or the emotion. I want them to focus on the thinking. What would Jaime be thinking coming in at about that time? And what would Samone be thinking? And how might that play out after 10 years of marriage? So we're not giving the feelings today, we're gonna give the thinking. Without further ado, let's hit it. Jaime,
step to the stage right and go to sneaky headphones. Samone, you're gonna start off pacing because you've been waiting up all night. All right, and I will let you know on action tip. We're gonna go with the home scene. All right, Samone is pacing. And you know how women do when they pace, they have some self-dialogue going. Ready, and action.
Okay, 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock.
what's that?
Your phone doesn't work?
Phone? Did you call my phone?
It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I have bad reception. What's up? What you doing up so early? What's going on? You all right?
We've never done this. We've never done this before.
What you mean?
We communicate with each other. We don't have communication issues. If I'm gonna be out late, I call you. If I'm working late, I call you. Normally you do that, but ever since your high school reunion with your guys, you just can't seem to, your phone doesn't work. It magically doesn't have reception. There's no signal. I'm sitting here worried, sick, thinking, because we don't do this. We don't do this. This is not us.
You can like, you know what I'm saying? You can relax.
Relax? Relax.
When your high school reunion, it wasn't a big deal. Like,
I didn't do this.
do what? What you mean?
I was worried. You could have gotten hit by a car. I don't know. Like, I don't know where you are. You're not calling. You're not texting. You're not doing anything. And you're sitting here telling me to relax and you're calm. Like, this is normal and this is not us.
Man, what's really on your mind?
I was worried and you don't care. Like,
Well, I'm here now, so what's up?
no. That does not work. That I'm here now. What's up? No, that's not working for me.
So what you want me to do? I'm here now. Like,
I
what's
want
really
you to
on
be
your mind?
accountable. I want you to be responsible. I want you to act like you give a dang. We've never had this. This is
Freeze. All right, pause. All right, so working really well at this particular point. A few other pointers I'm gonna let you guys know as well too, especially as an actor. You're usually operating within a set of walls. A lot of times people call them the 3 walls or the 4 walls, sometimes depending on how they direct it. But as an actor, when you're on stage or when you're on film, you're kind of directing yourself at least a little bit more open to the camera. So you're being mindful of where the cameras are, you're being mindful of where you are in placement. I know this is green screen, so you don't know necessarily if you're standing on top of a couch or what, but you're in good position currently right now. So here's the thing, let's break these feelings down a little bit. Samone, really good translation of what was going on. Let's talk a little bit about that. What was your thinking as having your husband of 10 years come sneaking in around that 4 o'clock in the morning?
my first immediate thought was that something terrible happened.
Something terrible had happened. Now that's a transition now, so she's not angry, but she's worried. She's got that level of stress. So she played that out in action by kind of pacing a little bit on the front end of it, really kind of, that displays a little bit of that worry. So then we got Jaime walked in, and he did it kind of like I would have done it, real slow and kind of like what happened, and then I was like just here, and he came in and he played it really well. What was Jaime's thinking, do you believe, in coming into that situation?
I was a little nervous, because I know I normally don't come out, come back home so late.
Okay.
And just to see her up, I thought maybe, she'll be in the bed.
Right,
And,
right.
go ahead and take a shower and,
Yeah.
make love to my wife.
Come on now. That's what my thinking would be as well too. So Jaime came in and he was like, he said he was a little nervous because she was up, and you saw that play out because he was kind of wringing the hand a little bit like,
He comes this way, he comes off screen, so you understand.
so he was like, hey, like, what are you like doing up a little bit, right? Now, depending on the circumstance, you have to be careful of walking in at 4 o'clock in the morning. If your wife is worried when you walk in at 4 o'clock in the morning and she discovers as you walk in at 4 o'clock in the morning that you're not dead, something may happen. Just be careful. I'm just saying like that. Make sure you don't have any samurai swords or nothing like that in the house. All right, so now we've made this transition. We had worried on the front end. That was the thinking and everything. I'm worried something could have happened. We've got a little nervous about, oh my God, she's up. Now let's move to the next level of thinking. She is determined he is safe and she is no longer worried. What would be the logical move? And she displayed a little bit of this before we paused. What would be the logical move, do you think, at that point?
Mad as hell.
Mad as Hades is where she is currently right now. So we're going to continue in that. We're going to step back into it to where she's mad. Now if she's mad, Jaime, where do you think your thinking would be now that she's mad?
If she's mad,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna stay cool.
Stay cool. Stay cool. Listen, marriages are going to get saved today. I'm telling you right now. Brothers, stay cool. I'm going to tell you right now. You walk in, she mad, stay cool. All right? So,
But let's think about something real quick too. I'm going to toss this into the abyss. What if this is a situation where this relationship has been the most uniform, most controlled relationship that Jaime has been in? And like he said, I didn't wild out when you went and hung out with your friends at your reunion. What if the scenario is this is just him just kind of stretching out a little bit in a relationship that he feels kind of confined in? Maybe Jamie's going to be a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit bolder, maybe a little bit louder. Maybe this was not a situation to break the relationship. Maybe it was just to teach the relationship something. maybe to say, hey, all sides are equal. You guys have the opportunity to play any one of those levels. I want you to challenge yourself and push yourselves, because remember, acting is about convincing. You know what I'm saying? So don't be restricted inside of what the parameters are. Jaime, push.
All right.
Samone, push.
So we're re-gauging it back in. Again, we dealt with the initial thinking that was related to those feelings. Now we move to angry. We move to play it cool. Play it cool can come in a lot of different directions now. Play it cool doesn't necessarily even mean silent. Play it cool may be confident. Now what that confidence might be is you might be confident in the fact that y'all been together for 10 years in marriage, and you feel like, hey, we are together. Confident may be the fact that, hey, I was hanging out with my boys, but I got receipts for every place we were at. We were watching the game at Wing House, we got this. I'm confident that where I was, regardless of how bad this looks, is legitimate, right? So play it cool can come in a lot of different ways. It's up to you to determine how that translates. Now, as we continue to go, make sure that we're amplifying, or we're projecting is what we call it. So we want you to raise your voice to the point, not where you're yelling. It's like you're tightening your diaphragm right here at this particular point, and you're talking from your diaphragm to where your voice carries. That'll be something that as actors you'll have to continue to work on as well too, because sometimes you'll be individually mic'd, sometimes it'll be boom mic or area mic, sometimes you stand on stage and they just want you to use your voice to project to get it out there, all right? So, we're gonna pick it right back up. She's moved from worried to mad as hell. He's moved from a little nervous to playing it cool. Let's see how it all works out.
Everybody project.
And action.
Jaime, I don't understand. Like, you must think I'm crazy, or
No, I don't think you're
like.
crazy. I don't think you're crazy. But I just think you kind of like, you overreact.
I'm
But
overreacting.
we've been together for 10 years. I mean, I just went out on my reunion and I'm just, just hanging out a little bit. My
So-
phone had a bad reception. The reunion was at, we down at Channelside. They got a lot of construction going on. A lot of different things. I can't control. You want me to call Metro PCS, tech support?
I don't want you to call nobody. I want you to be more accountable, first and foremost.
Well, I'm
I want
accountable. I mean, we got for 10 years. I mean, how much more accountable can I be?
you weren't accountable today.
And so it's kind of like Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately type of thing.
If you want to put it there, but dude, like, I thought something happened to you, and you coming up in here like everything is cool when it's not.
Baby, I'm all right now. I'm here with you. But come on. I'm okay. I don't have no scratches. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, somebody as beautiful as you, always upset all the time. Come on, man. You're
Now I'm upset all the time.
Yeah, you really are. I just be watching you from time to time, and it just seems like you have a lot of stress going on.
If I have stress going on, maybe it's because you aren't as accountable as you once were.
Accountable. I work every day. I hold you down. I take care of my family. How much more accountable can I be? I just went
You
out.
say that like that's a bonus. That's what we're supposed to do. It's part of communicating.
Man,
That's what we signed up for, right?
Yeah, you're right. Signed up. This is a covenant relationship we're in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Partnership. Where we communicate. Right?
Partnership. Man, God made the woman for the man. He didn't make me for you.
What?
Really?
What?
You
got to be. You literally lost your mind at this point.
Whoa! Hey! Let's not put God too far in. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I saw her put her hand back up like this. I don't know if she was reaching for something or the braids was coming down or what. Hey, beautiful transition to those next pieces. I really saw that. One thing I want to talk about is the chemistry. As you guys can see, and these are the first time that they worked together at all. You can see the chemistry really starting to come together as they start to have the conversation. I know some of you might have been thinking, wait a minute, playing it cool, my man Jaime might actually pull it out. She kind of stepped down a little bit. I was rooting for Jaime. I was like, okay, Jaime might actually been playing it cool out, And then he threw the whole woman with, and it just went like totally south. So listen, that's really, as you can see, when they did the first portion and they moved to here, you could see the different steps that the emotions and the thinking, the feelings we're taking, and that's depth as an actor. Being able to build that depth is being able to take those steps. The more steps that you can place and take in a scenario like this, because it goes from worry, then it went from mad. Now, if they've been together, you got to think about what's the thinking of this whole scenario, what is the circumstance they're operating in. If they've been together for 10 years, maybe he's been out for last couple of nights after the reunion, stretching his legs a bit, but they do have family, he is holding it down. Now, if the ultimate goal is to reconcile, to work through this situation, at some point it's got to make that turn as well too, all right? So even if, let's say they gave him the scenario or the circumstance at the front end, listen, this is what happened, you came in, but you guys really love each other, you know that you're gonna be together, you know this is just a minor little roadblock, so you're gonna work through that, but you need to have the conversation. Still makes sense for you to go from worry to angry to, hey, reconciliation, right? Those things still make sense. So as the actor, it's up to you to translate it, because that's the way that it makes sense, not only on screen, but it makes sense in the real world, and that's what you are as an actor, is you're creating real world, real life type scenario. Yes, that is very possible to happen, all right? So that's what I got for this. I think we're gonna move on. Instead of doing,
Give a hand.
we're gonna have to wand Samone down. Make sure she don't have anything, but give Jaime, this is first time doing our Facebook Live and our YouTube Live Think Feel That class, so give him another hand for stepping up into it. We'll be doing some great stuff. Okay, thank you guys. We're gonna roll on to our next piece there. All right, look at that. Look at that, we're putting families back together. It's just happening right up here in this piece here. Now, so the next set of scenarios here, and again, last week I told you guys I wanted to really get an on-script scenario, which I think we're going to save for the end. The on-script scenario we're going to save for the end, because we're just having too much fun right now with the improv pieces and what we do. We love doing improv. If you want to learn how to do improv, how to be able to set up scenarios and operate on your feet, be able to write it in your head and do it, this is a place you can learn to actually do that. I actually personally feel that improv is what really gives those actors who are even working on scripts the confidence and the opportunity really to let loose and be able to create off the cuff. So if you want to learn how to do that, this is the place to do it. Hit us up. Make sure you check out our YouTube page. If you're not watching YouTube, if you're watching from the Facebook page, make sure you hit us up on the Inkwell Pictures YouTube page and subscribe. We'd love for you to subscribe to our page there. And also, we got some big announcements coming pretty soon about some other platforms that we have that we're going to be on, streaming our material and some of the things. We've got a watch party that's coming up pretty soon for our Fade to Black episodes. We're in season 1 right now, so we got 8 episodes of season 1. We're going to let you take a couple of peeks at some of the episodes in that season 1. We're already writing on season 2 right now as well too, so we're really excited about that, as well as a couple of other projects that we're going to be working on. We are currently actively involved in casting as well too, and I will talk about that a little bit later after this. But let's go ahead and move back into the next series of scenarios. Mel, what we got? What's the next backdrop that we got, brother?
Why don't we have a little fun with, what if a dude caught his girl at the strip club?
What if a dude caught his girl at the strip club? You know, there's no better person to do this project than Miss I Got Caught at the Strip Club, Felicia Bell. Come on up, Felicia.
Did she get caught at the strip club?
She got caught. I'm just tripping. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Now, listen, I just want to throw out there the disclaimer for those of you who are watching, some of you who are friends, family, etc., even my pastor who might be watching, this is just jokes. There's no strip club stuff going on. I'm just throwing it out there just to let you know. Ha! All right. So this scenario, we're gonna have. Let's see who we're gonna have. I don't know if. See, because we use them all the time.
Oh.
You got somebody else who wants to jump in?
Freeway.
Free. Okay, come on, let's do it.
Freeway, let's go.
If you ready, you ready?
So the scenario is that his girl has been, hanging out with her friends and all this other kind of stuff.
Hey, hang on a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring Melvin up. You guys haven't seen him the last two, but let's bring him in here. You guys might be wondering, who is the voice off screen who keeps interrupting Marvin's eloquent flow?
Yes, bring that up.
It is Melvin, actually. This is my twin brother and partner here with Inkwell Pictures. Yeah, he be mean mugging all the time. That's his thing. That's what he does. Good cop, bad cop, all the way. That's my brother. We've been hanging down like 4 flat tires. I mean, it's real crazy when you swam naked with another individual for 9 months in the womb.
Okay.
That's him.
Change it. Oh, yeah, change it. We're losing followers.
All right. So, listen, we're going to have Melvin go ahead and describe out this particular piece of our improv here for Think, Feel, Act.
All right. So acting is about convincing. We've talked about the Think, Feel, Act concepts. What we say is that it is very difficult to think about a character, feel what you're trying to project to the viewer or the audience, and act all at the same time. The decision-making process happens a little bit differently. That you've got to think about the character, think about what their history is, think about the things leading up to that have gotten them to where they are now, and then also you have to feel what you're doing. So if you don't feel it inside of a role, if your performance is empty, then many times it doesn't transfer, and the audience feels that it's really, really empty. So we're trying to get you to think about your character and think about your performance. Feel and be convincing in your performance, not only to the person watching, but to yourself. And then the acting should be just the execution. So in this particular scenario, we always like to have some fun and change it up. So our character, Felicia, has, she let's say she is a educator, and she's always lived a really, really steady life. And her husband has always been the one who's kind of been out and hanging out and wilding out a tad bit, that kind of thing. But he's been kind of more settled and more at home. But at one of her friends' bachelorette parties, she gets experience for the first time of a strip club. And now, just to blow off a little steam, she likes to go sneak away to the strip club. And tonight, her husband kind of follows her. And so he walks in on her as she's getting ready to go get her drink. All right? Get ready. Let me set the mood up. Bam!
Okay.
All right, so she's having a good time at the club. She done climbed up there with Felicia, with Ashley and all that and everything. She's about to get her little drink together. And then her husband walks in 3, 2, 1, and action.
I'll be right back.
I knew you was in here.
Okay.
Man, what you doing in here?
You see my girl? You see my girl?
Where my kids at? Ain't you supposed to be home with the kids?
Did you get a drink? Huh? Did you get a drink?
What you doing in here? Since when you start hanging out at the strip club? So this what we do now?
Right here.
This what we do now? I'm just asking. This what we do now?
Okay, look. Do you want a drink? Did you want a drink?
Nah,
You normally get it.
I'm not here for no drink.
I'm feeling the mood.
Yeah, I'm not here for no drink.
I was. Okay.
You ready to go?
No.
So this what we do now?
No.
We in the strip clubs. I mean,
Okay, so I had a long day at work, and I just can't. Baby, you brought me here. You brought me here before. What's the
but I
problem?
thought you didn't like strip clubs. I thought you wasn't down with all that.
But Bridget said, just come out for a little bit, have a little fun. We just come on. We get a drink. Go get a drink and come back.
Okay.
I'm gonna get you a dance. I'm gonna get you a dance.
Okay.
Then you know you like that girl.
I'm good.
That's your type.
Let's go, man.
Oh, it's not your type?
Let's go.
She know me. You the one last time we come. Why you leave?
Come on, man. Let's go.
Come get a drink.
Where my babies at?
Where your baby?
All right. Freeze. So we've got this couple here.
Bring him in.
And this couple, we're going to slide over just a little bit. We got this couple here. And obviously, Felicia's out having a great time at the club. And her man is a little bit thrown by it. You know, he shows up, he sees her here. You know, she ain't really normally let him go and wild out at the club, and now she's here. Now she's caught and she's playing it kind of jokey joke and everything is cool and fun and let me get you a dance. But if we said this is kind of more of a serious situation, that let's say maybe her husband feels a little bit betrayed by the situation. You know, maybe that when he does go hang out at the club or what have you, she clowns on him all the time. And is there something there that you like and all this other kind of stuff? And now she's here at the club. What's his dialogue going to be like now if he feels like, okay, now there's a double standard? What is dialogue going to be like if he feels like she's not handling her responsibility? What is his dialogue going to be like if he feels like, so this is what we do? We go and you just throw out all my money at the club now? You know, you got me on a leash and you out here with money at the club? So let's reset it. We're going to change the tone just a little bit. Remember, acting is about feeling and emotion. So what we want to do is we're going to change the temperature of the room. Maybe he's a little bit more upset about this. Maybe she feels a little bit busted, maybe even embarrassed by the scenario. The key is that how you get in and how do you get out. So I want you guys to show me how this ends. All right? Mm-hmm. Ready? Action.
You ready? We gonna go? Or we gonna stay here? You made your mind up. That's what you wanna do?
It's what you've been doing.
Yeah, but when I do it, you give me a hard time. You want me to change, you want me to be a different man. I've been trying to do that. But here we go. And this is my money. This is what you doing with my money?
Today.
I'm saying, this is what you doing with my money? That's why we're coming up short with bills?
Oh, well.
Because of this? So I give you money, this is what you do with it? But if I'm in here throwing money at these females, you give me a hard time.
Right, because you didn't talk to me first, but you know,
I'm mad at the house. Why don't I talk to you?
Exactly.
I'll make you money.
Exactly. Right? So now all of a sudden, it's what you do, so I do what you do. Now you mad because I'm doing what you do.
I feel like this ain't right. I feel like you
What?
this ain't right.
It ain't right.
It ain't right for me to do, but it's right for you to take your money and put my hand and spend it. But if I'm in here doing that, it's an issue.
But I've been chasing you how long to get you up out of here, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, maybe I just had a good time too. So maybe I want to see what brought you here so much. I mean, I thought it was the chick right there, because the last time you did say that she did have what the little dangly thing. Ain't that the little dangly thing you like?
Oh, so you want me to act?
No, we're talking about it. Come back over here.
No, okay, that's cool. I'll go.
No, it ain't cool. No, you want no, but you no.
Hold up.
You ain't got to go over there. Ain't no security.
Get your hand off me.
For real?
That's what you want to do.
For real?
Let's go. Come on.
For real? Is that what we doing?
I'm saying,
No, that's not what we
you
doing.
want to come to the strip club, so we here. Let's have fun. Come on, let's have fun.
No, but you talking
Okay,
about
cut. Thank you. All right, stay in here. I mean, money flying everywhere. Like I said, I just want to assure those people, this is a green screen backdrop. We are not really in the club, despite the money falling and the whole piece. We are not really in the club. Let's talk about it though. Big transition from what they did initially, because they were kind of with the comedy and it was fun. And I think it would be kind of a funny situation there. We're going to have to remember that on the writing. But the next piece of it is they moved to that more serious, angry kind of piece. And Felicia, she had a posture when she came off, when she was angry, she did it a certain way. So I want Felicia to talk about that a little bit. When you came off angry initially, or when you, it wasn't like tremendous anger, but when you came off initially, where were you going? What was your thinking?
Well, so he was kind of being upset, but he said something, so I went ahead and jumped mad first before he got mad.
Now that is that a technique? Maybe that's some kind of technique. If I'm mad, you can't be mad because I'm gonna beat you. You see how that whole thing works out? I gotta beat you mad. That actually is something that plays out in real life, so therefore it is valid right here on the acting. Now my man walked in and he was like, "Oh, this is what we do, right?" And then, where it really got serious, you saw him when he said, "Is this my money?" And he went to grab for it.
real situation there. Now, where was your head at when you came in? We upped again because she had a stack of money. She had a stack of money in her hand. Where were you at once that started?
The mindset of, okay, you fussing with me about my money, but you have our money. I'm behind this mic.
Yeah, you got our money up here. You and the girl, what you doing, girl? You up here messing with the church's money. What is happening here? You know?
Bills coming up short. Bills coming up short. You got the money.
Bills coming up short. You got this too. So that leads to a great point as we wrap this particular section, because he said, hey, she's got our money up in here, bills coming up short, etc. He's building his own backstory in order to feed the emotion off of, which as an actor, that's a great tool, a great skill to use, is that you pull together that backstory that matches the circumstance that you're in to get to those emotions. Sometimes the best way to do that is if the backstory is something you can relate to. It happened to you, so the backstory changed right into real emotions that you felt in the past, real things that have happened in the past. Those of you who want to really learn how to cry on screen, some of the best way to be able to do it is to lock into a real life emotion that you have experienced in a scenario where you have actually cried. So again, those are some of the techniques that you learn. All of this is just really about the amount of work that you want to put in, because the more that you work at this as a craft and a skill, the more you work at it, the better you're going to get. Let's give them a hand so we can get them out of the strip club. No strippers were hurt during this, none were injured during this green screen performance. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull together one more scenario so we got two more scenarios left. We're going to pull together a scenario, one more improv, and then we've got a real treat for you guys, because we have a scene out of one of the Fade to Black episodes that our two leads in that particular episode are going to walk through, because we want to talk about digesting the script and how to move within that script. So if you give me just a second, we're going to set up this final scene. I believe it's the hospital scene, is that correct? Yes. So the hospital scene is what we're going to set up. Give us just a second. We're going to pull up this cash off the floor for the hospital scene, and we're going to bring our next players in on this particular scene. Give us just a second, and we got it rolling for it. Mico pick up money real quick. That brother I've never seen. I mean, whoa. He come home, boy, he got dollar bills smelling like strawberry with glitter on it, man. Let me tell you. All right. So this next scene is going to be a hospital scene. And we're going to turn it a little bit seriously, but again, there's going to be some layers to it, because what we want to do is we want to make sure that you're grasping the concept of creating characters in depth. And hospitals and those type of scenes are one of those places that do that, because it can take you from a really, really, really high place to a low place, or a really low place to a high place. And being able to make the transition on those emotions is really important. It's not like, you think you're in the hospital for a checkup, you think you might die, and then they give you good news and you automatically switch it on. There's a range that goes with it that we're hoping that you polish and make professional. Okay, so that's what we're gonna get into right now. So let me check the scene, see what we've got going, and then we're gonna pull in our actors to see who's gonna be our actors for this particular scene. We're gonna have Sydric and Samone. Ced and Samone are gonna be in this particular scene. And here's a scenario that we're gonna give, because we want it to range. We want there to be a range of emotion in this. And we're gonna put a little bit of a twist on this one as well too, with the range of emotion. So in this particular scene, Samone is here at the hospital, and Samone is waiting for some news about a test. We might need a third person, a doctor, to come in as well too. Samone is waiting on the results of a test, and Sydric shows up late. He was supposed to go there with her, but he had some issues or whatever. He's supposed to be there late. And they discover some things. Once she gets there for the test, she thinks it's really, really horrible, because she's been having all types of issues, and her blood pressure kind of crazy and everything. Sydric gets there. She's a little upset that Sydric is late, and this was important, and he knows that she's been dealing with this for a little while.
Jaime doctor.
Oh,
Jaime's doctor.
Yes, Jaime's doctor. Jaime's doctor, okay. Jaime is the doctor. So, what happens is the doctor comes in,
at that particular point and lets her know, hey, tests have come back, you're fine, your heart's fine, your blood pressure, no issues there. However, you are pregnant. And then the range of emotion has to go from there. I'm gonna let it go and see how they respond to it. But it'll be a first time treat for you guys. But of course, if she's a little nervous, a little afraid about what's gonna happen with that test, and then it evolves from there to that anger, then it evolves to what's the response when they found out that she's pregnant? Only you will know. Let's get it going. So let's bring them up.
Am I sitting in the chair? No, like a little. Hey. Is this it? All my life.
Yes.
Fine.
All right, James, come on for just come on for just a little bit. Slide back just a little right there. Okay. And then James, you're here. You're gonna come in after Sid. Okay. Right there.
We'll just have to go and interrupt them. We'll tell you when he's going in.
Okay, cool. All right, so here we go. All right, we're getting ready to start. Samone is waiting patiently. She's a little nervous about what might happen. Sid was supposed to be here with her, but as usual, he is late. He comes arriving in 3, 2, 1.
Baby, sorry, I just had something at the top of the job. What they say? You hear anything yet?
I didn't hear nothing back yet. Why are you always late? This is important. Like,
I know, and I apologize. I couldn't get out of there. I kept trying.
so we gotta wait and see what the doctor says, okay?
Well, you've been sitting here all this time. How long have you been sitting there?
You just got here. Why are you complaining about time? You're late yourself.
But I would figure you would have had something done by now.
Did you even want to be here?
I want to be here. I'm here and I want to be.
You raising my blood pressure. This is like.
Let me calm down.
You act like you sick.
I've been worried. I've been trying to get here. It's something been on my mind all night. I know you've been in prison. I just want to know that you're going to be okay.
I want to know that too, but great. Before you start complaining.
I mean, okay, so the doctor has been here?
I've gotten tested, I've gotten everything, and I'm just waiting on the results. But you just got here. You're stressing me out. I shouldn't be feeling like this right now.
I'm not trying to cause you any stress. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to cause you any stress. I'm just worried about you.
Okay.
Just worried. Where's this goddamn doctor?
Hey, how you doing? How's it going?
I'm tired, man. My wife gonna be okay?
Well, actually, I got some good news. The good news is all your blood work is back and everything is checked out. Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Amen.
That's awesome. And like you guys are really happy together.
Yes.
And like I see even better news. According to your test results, congratulations, man. You guys are about to have a baby.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, you guys.
What did he just say?
Yeah, shit.
You're gonna have a baby.
A baby?
Yeah. Well, hey, I thought maybe you may want to get with your primary care physician.
No, you might want to take the results back. Let's do it over. You might even switch my chart to somebody else's. I can't be pregnant. Sydric. God damn it, Sydric. What, like,
You supposed to be on the damn pill.
you're supposed to be using protection.
Well, let me let you guys. You have a
Hey,
counselor.
Dr. Anderson. Hey, Dr. Anderson.
Just so you know, we have counselors on board if you guys would like to talk to some
Nobody
counselors.
said nothing about no counselor. You need to get them, go. No, we need to do this over. This is not right. I'm not feeling it. Cedric,
But we're not ready for this. We're not financially ready for this.
financially, you should have thought about that before you climbed in the top in the middle of the night.
You sleep right next to me, right?
But I didn't
You know-
start nothing.
Well, don't make a difference who starts something. Shit, you're my wife. That's what married couples do.
Listen, you got
Nowadays, everybody do it. Now,
cover it up.
you married or not.
Excuse me?
Don't make them be married or not. Nowadays, everybody does it.
The
But
condom
you're laying right
on
next to me.
the side of the
I'm
bed.
going to do what a man supposed to do. I'm
You're
going to do
supposed to
that.
wrap it up.
And you weren't trying to stop. Matter of fact, you ain't trying to stop me.
I was asleep.
You woke the hell up real fast.
Nah, trust me, ain't no motion in that ocean.
Okay. So we go in there now, right?
I'm just saying, you fussing at me like,
I'm not fussing at you. I'm just saying, I thought you were on birth control. Yeah, we paid for the birth control. You're not taking it?
I take my birth control, but I also take blood pressure medication. I also take medication for my diabetes. That's a lot of stuff. That's why you use condoms,
so when you go
right?
to a doctor, you don't ask what are the side effects for all this shit gonna be?
It takes two to tango. You have condoms on your nightstand.
Did
Just
you
for
say
kids'
Sydric put a condom on?
I put them on your nightstand.
I don't give a damn about no condom at 2 in the morning.
That's
When old boy does this, it's just time to react. That's all.
I can't believe it.
Hey, look, a man's blood on the goal, it stops here when that time, when we got down that mind.
My blood pressure, it stops here when you like.
Well, okay.
You
What
ain't
are we gonna do now?
we can't fix it. I'm not killing my baby.
I ain't saying kill it. I'm not saying that.
Hell.
That's our baby. We're gonna have to raise it together. I guess we have to work more overtime. And
Be a little more on time
okay.
and prepared.
You're gonna keep holding this over my head. I got here a little bit late. You know what? Making some extra money. That's what I was doing.
We're gonna need it now. Thank you.
You're definitely gonna need it. And now, you know what I'm gonna need you to do? Support me a little bit more when I am working that overtime. How about that?
I cook, I clean, I work too. And guess what?
And
Guess what, Cedric?
What's that?
I'm carrying a baby now. So you're gonna have to carry some.
So that means I'm gonna have to hear more of this here now.
No, you're gonna have to
emotions gonna be all over
show
the
up. Then we won't have this problem. Now, will we, Cedric?
Look like they're gonna be arguing for a long time. I've got a little bit of extra cash I'm gonna donate to the baby fund. And based on the way Samone was going off, she might need a little extra more. And
Thank you.
I mean, here, just get that.
Why
All
is she?
So that's the question. So let's break down a little bit about what was happening in this particular scene. She was a little, irritated that he showed up late. She was kind of giving him business on that. And then he came through with the, boom, you're pregnant. And that just didn't sit quite right with Miss Samone. So, as you can tell, she's used to arguing. Tell us a little about, I'm just joking. Tell us a little bit about where you were going when your head was like, oh, I'm pregnant. Your initial response, where were you going with it?
I initially died a little bit, and I was upset with Cedric because
She's so dramatic. I died.
She died.
I died a little bit. And I was upset with Cedric because he's my husband. I take my birth control religiously, and I take all of my other medications religiously, and it's his. He got one job. One job, and he failed.
So I like the way that this really spun into. Initially, they were talking about him being more responsible because he showed up late, and it seemed like her character just took that on as another level of irresponsible behavior by Cedric at this particular point, and that's what kept her kind of in that vein. She was using a whole backstory to lead to this one narrative about him not being responsible. Now,
Why is it Cedric's fault?
Sam came
He
in.
had one job.
Yeah, one job. He said he was coming for a job. It sounded like he had at least 2 jobs.
And I didn't know what he
He
doing.
did that job. The boy did one job and he did that job well. He leave that 50. All right. So Cedric came in and he was real kind of casual now. It's like, hey baby, I'm so sorry, I'm late, and the whole piece of it. And she kind of wasn't letting him off the hook. Said, where was your head at when you came in and got this from Miss Samone?
Well, I'm thinking at a certain point, okay, let's just start to focus on what we're here for. Okay, yeah, I was late, but I was late getting off of work. It wasn't like I was out in the strip club.
Oh, right, Felicia, yeah, right.
So, and I got here as quickly as I could. And I was here for the news.
Right.
So I didn't miss any of that.
Right. So you were doing, your thing is, and this is where the conflict shows in, and I think, like I said, when you're building character, chemistry, the conflict in the scene builds in because he's feeling like even though he was late, he's doing everything he can to be responsible, and she feels like he's doing everything he can to show a level of irresponsibility, and that's where the conflict comes up. The question becomes, what is the circumstance that they're acting within? What's supposed to happen in this scene? How do they get out of this scene? What's the exit in this scene? And does this match up? It's up to the director and it's up to the actual scene content of what it is. But again, let's say at the end of this particular scene,
they were happy about this. It's something that they've been looking for they've been trying for years, and then they gave up, and then all of a sudden, boom. Well, let's say that's not the case at all. Let's say my man Sid was supposed to, or no, let's put it on her since she blamed Sid for everything. Let's say that Samone was supposed to actually have her tubes tied at the last baby 2 years ago, and so how you end up getting pregnant? I know what she's gonna say. It didn't take. Whatever it is, I don't know. But how the exit or how you get outside the scene is important to the way that you build the content, especially in improv. You got to be able to allow yourself a way to paint yourself inside of the scene without covering up the doors or the windows or the things that are supposed to get you off or to exit you out. Rule of thumb in a scene, but this plays, especially in stage plays, if you ever walk out on stage and you don't know why you're there, it just means you came in too early or too late. You're not supposed to be there. All right? So make sure you're locked into the scene and that you can paint your way through it. Give them another hand. I love what they're doing. We're going to move to our very last segment here. And we talked about this last week, and this is the script work segment. So go ahead. Oh, thank you. Look at that. I'm getting paid. Okay. This feels a little lighter than when I initially handed it to her. So I know she got a little extra hanging in there, some extra dollars she's holding on to. So we're going to have to make sure we get that back. But this last scene that we're going to pull together is actually a scripted scene. It comes directly out of Fade to Black. And I wanted really to pull together that scene and talk a little bit about blocking and how that blocking works. Sydric and Felicia are the two lead actors in that particular episode. The name of that episode is Thin Line is the episode. We're going to do a watch party coming up really, really soon, so you guys have an opportunity over the next week or two to actually be able to see that episode live on our Facebook page and live on our YouTube page. But I want to bring them up into that particular scene. And this scene is the home scene where Sydric is starting to feel a little uncomfortable about Felicia's movements. I don't want to give away the entire story because I want you guys to definitely pop back in and watch it when we put the watch party up over the next day. We're going to list the actual times for the watch party.
In fact, why don't you throw them to the trailer?
Say again?
Why don't you throw them to the trailer?
So, and if you are interested in Fade to Black and episodes of what we're doing, definitely jump on the trailer. Take a look at the trailer. It's online. It's on our Facebook page. You want to see the trailer now? You got the trailer up?
Let's roll it.
Okay, let's roll the trailer. We'll show you the trailer for a little bit as I'm prepping them, and then we'll bring them up on board. We'll dive into that scene of Thin Line, but this is the trailers for Fade to Black Season 1, first series.
Some will do just about anything, Phyllis. Anything to get it.
Well, look on the lovely couple. You know, I just love seeing a couple truly in love. A bit of mischief, huh? Yeah, okay. Well, how would you like to get in a little bit more? Tony! I filed for divorce.
One day, you're on top of the world. The next, the world is on top of you.
Oh, it's not what it looks like? Just tell me what it looks like, Keith. I can't believe you would do this to me.
So what? Fine. We're going to get in here and play this game. When we win this money, you take your half and do what you want to do, and I'll take my half and do what I want to do. All right?
Fine.
I thought that time came off of my life.
Oh, Dad. Do not stop time.
So it's not the park, okay? So it's not the Caribbean spot, but I know you're gonna bring that bitch somewhere. Maybe Italian restaurant. No,
Baby, you're overreacting. Stop. Baby, you're overreacting. Chill. Stop. I'm working.
Get the lights, camera, action, and then it all fades to black.
Yep.
All right, hey, so we're back. We're back live right now. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the trailer, and I hope that you are a part of the watch party that we're going to pull together here really soon. Look on for announcements on Facebook as well as on YouTube for the watch party for Fade to Black. We're going to give you, like I said, probably over a week or so, week or two, we'll give you probably about 3 episodes, maybe 4 episodes for you to look at and see what your thoughts are, see whether or not you like it, all right? So, in this last scene, this is a scene from Fade to Black. It's a living room scene here. We're gonna pull up Miss Felicia Bell and Sydric Reynolds. In this particular scene, anytime that you have a script where you're actually required to have a script and you're reading from that script and it's not improv, there are certain things that you can do to help yourself move along that script. The thing that makes most actors totally terrified is having to memorize and recite back a script. But there's ways that you can do it by using blocking and movement in order to help you to navigate that script. So for example, if you know that you have a very long scene, but you break it down to where you know you have to walk in, you greet the people who are in the room, you go to the kitchen, you ask what's for dinner, that helps you break that scene down. So instead of coming in and saying, hey, how's everyone doing? It's good to see you. What's for dinner? Being able to break through by walking in, hey, how's everyone doing? Walking into the kitchen, opening the refrigerator and saying, what's for dinner? All breaks that scene up to where it makes that large piece much smaller, and you're using the movement in the scene to block that out. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to let them do that particular scene, and they're going to add in the blocking that's natural to them based on what they created in the scene, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it in just a quick second, okay? So we're going to move a few props in place, a table and chair for this particular scene, and then we'll let them translate it how they have seen it, and then we'll pull it right back in place, okay? And we'll talk about it on the way out. How's that? You want to turn? One more turn. How's that?
It's opposite. If they're going to sit down, then
You want me to pull it over? Which side is
sit
that?
down, move it that way.
Is that this way?
To the left. Move to the left.
To the left. Okay. We'll move this way. Right there?
Back to your right a little bit. And yeah, that's fine. Right. Now move it over to your right a little bit more. Yep, that's more center. It's a little bit more center. All right.
All right, so here's the scene. Just one little segment, Fade to Black. They're going to walk through it the way that they blocked it out, and we'll talk about it on the back end. Thanks.
Good morning, sweetheart. What was going on with you last night? I mean, you tossed and turned all night. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, could be a little bug, but I'm okay.
Maybe you just need to take it easy a little bit. I mean, we are just getting back from our trip.
Maybe it's just a little jet lag.
Or maybe I still need you to just take it easy.
All right. I'll throttle it down a bit. What's your schedule look like?
Well, I'm flying to New York to meet with the E-team, close out a few contracts, but don't worry, I'll be home for dinner.
Okay. Just figured if you're gonna be back in time for dinner, maybe we can try to do the restaurant over on 3rd.
Yeah, but if we're not, maybe we can just keep it simple.
Honey,
Yes?
anything else on your schedule besides just meetings?
No? What are you doing?
streaming now that you asked about.
Oh.
Unless you just want to watch what's on.
Oh, no. Go ahead. But can you take some of that junk off my hard drive?
Sure, but you got plenty of space on your phone. Keep that up. You gonna miss that flight.
I gotta hurry. I gotta hurry.
And scene.
And
All
cut.
right.
Let's bring the.
Wonderful. So that was scene right there at that particular point. Like I said, that was a scene from the Fade Black episode. I can't wait for you guys to actually see it. Let's bring our actors and actresses back on stage here. Let's talk a little bit about the translation of the scene. Now, we gave them some direction as we normally do, but they were in charge of blocking this scene out and the movement amongst the scene. So I'd like for them to talk about what they did to block this scene out to where it was
And
real,
set
it made
the context
sense.
of what it's about, what
And,
the story's about.
So the context of what the story. So the context of what the story is about a couple. They've been together, married, the whole piece, and living their lives and have had a pretty happy life. But unfortunately, some misinformation is injected into the couple's life to where they start to misinterpret some of the cues and some of the movements inside of the relationship. It's all implanted there by a particular person. I don't want to give the whole episode away, but it's implanted there by a particular person, and it just tends to undermine the relationship. The question becomes whether or not they'll be able to get themselves back on track and move beyond some of those feelings and some of those thoughts that get stuck in your head, especially when you're dealing with a nice, solid, committed relationship. And that's what we're talking about here. So you guys tell me, how did you translate in this particular scene, which was a scene where after Sydric is feeling a little bit uncomfortable, you actually come in as you normally do every day. How did you guys translate that scene?
Well, for me, I'm just going along like normal. I love my husband. I'm getting ready to go on business, so I'm just working through my normal day.
Okay. All right. So you just doing your thing, working through your normal day, which showed in your attitude that you kept it moving. Now, Sydric, you tell me what was the translation when you had this particular scene? Of course, there was a scene before this that kind of influenced this one, but give me your translation.
Well, I felt that she might be cheating. Had no proof, and in searching her bag, there were things in there that made me wonder, like, what the hell she needed this for? You know, so I was asking about meetings and things like that.
Right.
So
Just
that's-
made you kind of question things a little bit. Now, one thing I want to bring up is props. You know, going through the purse is a prop. It displays a level of, hey, what's going on, what you're doing. Maybe if the role was reversed and he had a gym bag or something like that, that would be something that they might go through. But the other piece is the phone as well, too. A lot of information locked up in the phone. A lot of people are familiar with the aspect of that phone check scenario. So even being able to do that, and how you play out something so small like a phone on screen to where they can actually see the thinking and the feelings and the emotion behind it is really important. The other thing, the mannerisms and the facial expressions, I think were key to this particular scene. So if you guys don't mind talking a little bit about that, how those mannerisms and how you shape the facial expressions to be able to carry the emotion of the scene.
Well, I mean, with me just being, unsuspecting of what he's going through, so I still stay at that level of, I'm happy to see him, I'm excited, I'm just going along with my day, I'm smiling, I'm just going about business. But then I don't really notice either, so there's kind of a little disconnect. I don't notice because he's not reacting as, real time with me.
Okay, so you were going on about your normal day, and I noticed that when you came in, it was like your demeanor, and it plays like this through the whole process, is that there's not an angry bone in your body in the sense of this character. She's happy, she's carefree, she's successful, so she's moving through, not really recognizing what's happening here on this other side. So, Cedric, you relayed that really, really well. Master of the stone face, basically, when we were shooting this, I was like, man, he's got this cold face, man, that comes down to it. Tell us about you know, the way that you translated those facial expressions and your emotions on it?
Well, when she walked in, I was thinking about what the character Cupid told me at the club. So it was kind of on my mind.
Right.
So that's when she walked in, I was kind of shaking my head. She pulled me out of that trance. And then, you know, we got back into our happy family role again, but then as she's leaving, the thoughts of what I think she was doing started coming back. So that's when the smile.
Right, and that's a great point as far as he was triggered by something she did, you know. He's already zoned out thinking about what happened before they got here. She comes in, and you might even be able to say that she brought him out of it a little bit with their interaction. He gets a little bit more happy, but then as she got ready to step, that triggered him right back into that, and you saw his facial expression kind of drop a little bit as she started to exit out. And those are the ways to play out that expression there. You want to have that range where you're moving. She came in and she almost had to pull him out and convince him. Something she did, unbeknownst to her, triggered him right back into it. And the audience has an opportunity to see that play out, to be able to focus in on the changes in those emotions. If you're able to really display those emotions really well and you have a depth of those emotions, you can really do a solid job building a great acting portfolio, okay? All right, so that's what we got. Thank them for coming up doing that. I really hope you guys watch. I'm going to go ahead. I don't know if this is a real table or not. It is. It's a real table. So listen, we've got a lot of good stuff that's going on right now. One of the things I want to mention before we cut out today is that we are in active casting right now. We're doing it a little bit differently. Some of it we're going to be doing over online. Some of it we'll be doing very limited on a face-to-face basis, as long as you don't have coronavirus or anything like that right now. We're going to be doing it on a very limited basis. But what we want to do is we're casting for a project. It's called Christmas Wedding. We want to push that out, coming really, really soon this Christmas season. So we've got plenty of time, but we got to get it done really this summer. So we are in a full casting for that. I'm hoping that some of you out there might be interested. It's a great project, and we got a couple of surprises with that project as well too. So if you are interested in coming out for a casting for that particular project, go ahead and shoot me an email, marvin@inkwellpictures.com. You may also send that to the info@inkwellpictures.com. Or, great thing, we're going to be going back through this Facebook video and the YouTube video. Go ahead and shoot us a message. Hey, I'm interested. We're always scrubbing the comments here to see how we can serve you better and things that we can add. So if you do put something there, we will make sure we get back with you in regard to casting. But we're doing that really, really soon because we want to start shooting as soon as things let up a bit. But we will be getting together so that some of the cast members can actually start to build chemistry and we can get a look at what it looks like. Last thing I'll say is on the watch party. The watch party that's been coming up. Look at your Facebook page and our social media platforms, because tomorrow we're going to post up the date for the very first watch party on Fade to Black. We hope that you join us there for the watch party. Great episodes. We're going to probably push out maybe somewhere around 3 or 4 of the first season, just so you can get a look, and then we'll give you some information afterwards to let you know where you need the rest of that season done. Like I said, we're already working on season 2. I'm really proud of the project. We've got a lot of great stuff happening. So again, thank you actors for coming out, joining us here. We're going to continue to bring you some great content, great acting, building, sharpening each other up with what we're doing here. But again, I thank you so much for coming out. Please join us again next Tuesday for Think Feel Laugh. Join us right here on YouTube as well as on the Facebook page. Thank you again. Subscribe to our YouTube page, inkwellpictures.com, and check out our website as well too, newly improved at www.inkwellpictures.com. Thank you so much. Peace, love.